In this video, I'm going to tell you exactly why your number health may be trending downwards, why your number is going to say scam likely, spam likely, or any of the other notifications that would tell someone to not answer your phone call. I'm going to tell you exactly how you can avoid this, how you can remedy it, how Signal House helps you remedy it, and how to avoid being framed as a bad actor when you are dialing your prospects, customers, or target audience. Hi, my name's Will Craig. I'm a co-founder of Signal House. We are a messaging provider here in the United States, today specializing in 10-digit long code traffic. That's where the first 3 digits correspond to a local area code. However, we are quickly branching out into other channels. Toll-free and short code are just around the corner, as is voice. We're also going to be rolling out RCS messaging in every English-speaking country, and we're also rolling out a Shopify app very, very soon. So without further ado, let's jump into the nitty-gritty of what these labels actually mean on your phone. So depending on what carrier you have, you're going to see something different. It could say scam likely, it could say spam likely, it could say do not answer, whatever the case may be for a different carrier. Typically, it is scam likely and spam likely. There are 3 different companies within the space that work primarily with the carriers. They're paired up with a carrier, and they're the ones who have this data on what your caller ID, or your CNAM as it's called in the space, but what your caller ID actually looks like, whether it's potential spam, scam likely, spam likely, etc. First Orion, they work directly with T-Mobile, TNS, who works with Verizon, and Hiya, who works with AT&T. These are the 3 companies that have all of the proprietary carrier data, and they partner with those carriers to identify your phone. Now, how do you avoid having a spam likely, scam likely, or potential spam on your caller ID when you are calling your prospect? Well, the first thing is just ensuring that you don't purchase a number that was used by a spammer or a scammer before, or that you're partnering with a messaging provider like Signal House that's going to help clean those numbers for you. We go through the pain and effort and time to make sure that all of our numbers are clean. Now, there's also other things that you can do to avoid having a spam likely, scam likely, or potential spam number as well. And it's potentially the habits that you have when you are both messaging and calling. So messaging actually totally can impact this as well. Sometimes people will say that messaging and calling are just completely separate within the space. It's true to an extent. They're regulated differently. You can bifurcate your number and have SMS on one provider and voice on another. But when it comes to how they interact with the number health itself, it is something that they do impact one another. For example, let's say that you have texted 1,000 people and 350 of them have opted out. It is indicative of you not having consent when you are messaging those individuals. That kind of an opt-out rate will 100% lead to you having a bad reputation on that phone number, which in turn is going to have a scam likely or spam likely flag on top of it. In iOS 18 and also some versions of Android, you also have the ability to report a number as junk. You have the ability to put it in a spam folder on your phone, essentially. Now, that capability is getting back to the carriers. We as messaging providers don't actually see that data. It's hidden from us, but your carriers do. And Hiya, TNS, and First Orion do as well. And they're the ones who are saying, listen, if this person has had a reporting threshold of 2 to 3% as well that are reporting this message as junk, this person's a spammer. And because they're a spammer, we are going to put a flag on there so that people aren't picking up the phone and being subjected to a robocall or a spam call or even potentially a phishing call. So my best advice in this particular instance is just have a very tight compliance protocol internally. Make sure you have opt-in when you are sending your messages. Even if you have opt-in, avoid database reactivation if you're doing that all at once. Database reactivation is great. You should do it 100%, but interlace those messages with the normal traffic that you would send out. Because again, if you are sending a message to 1,000 people, they may well very have opted into you. Let's say you're an auto mechanic or something like that, and you're messaging them about an oil change. And let's say that a good percentage of them now have electric vehicles or something like that. You could put yourself in a position where unknowingly you are shooting yourself in the foot, because if you have a high percentage of your individuals who are opting out from you, you absolutely are going to feel the pain from that. Again, 350 people opt out of your 1,000-person message. That's a 35% opt-out rate. You are absolutely going to see effects with your messaging. Your campaign may even get shut down with that high of an opt-out rate, but certainly you're going to put yourself in a bad spot. Even 10%, 7%, 5%, you want that opt-out rate to be below 3% to be in a good standing with the carriers. Anything above 5%, you are going to be looked at very heavily. There's going to be scrutiny on the account. So in database reactivation, where you do have a higher likelihood of an opt-out happening, make sure you interlace those messages with your typical traffic that you would normally send. Now let's talk about voice. There are specific voice metrics that carriers are looking for. For example, 15% of your calls are 6 seconds or less. It's indicative that you are using a multi-line power dialer. Multi-line power dialer is something that is not approved for use by CTIA and can get you in a substantial amount of trouble. It can get you blocked. It can get you shut down. So you want to make sure that your calls are longer than that. 15% of them are longer than that, and that your average call duration is actually longer than 60 seconds. So make sure that you're having good conversations with individuals and that you are making sure that your average call duration is going to be high enough, and that 15% of them are above that 6-second mark as well. You want to make sure that you are not putting yourself in a bad position to where a carrier or a carrier partner could just believe, based on the metrics there, that you are a bad actor with a multi-line power dialer, or just a robocaller, or someone peddling some scam or spam or phishing content. If 15% of your traffic is less than 6 seconds, you're going to get flagged. If your call duration is less than 60 seconds on average, you also potentially could get flagged. It's not as serious as the 15% 6 seconds or less, but it is still a metric that they are looking at. And let's also talk about abandoned calls. Abandoned calls are calls that are either hung up immediately following the answering, or they are hung up before the individual actually answers. Again, on the first part of this is more indicative of a spam call. You call someone, they answer, hey, this is so-and-so from this company, boom, hang up. That's going to be an abandoned call, or shows an abandoned call. It's also going to go against that under 6-second limit. Now, the other side of it is that you are hanging up before that call terminates. That is indicative of a multi-line power dialer as well. So let's say that you are using a multi-line power dialer. You are dialing 15 numbers at once. Obviously, one person answers. You're hanging up the other 14. That is a high percentage of abandoned calls. You want to have a less than a 30% abandoned call rate. If you are above 30% of your calls being abandoned, you will 100% get flagged. Now let's talk about again how Signal House is going to help you do this natively. We are rolling out voice very soon. With your phone numbers that you are using through Signal House, we are already cleansing those numbers with those 3 data providers to make sure that you have clean numbers. We are checking every single week to determine which phone numbers have any kind of scam complaints or spam complaints, or that they have a bad reputation with one of those carriers. And we are running it through the upstream systems that we have access to make sure that it goes back from scam likely, spam likely, probable spam, whatever the case may be, back to either your set CNAM or your caller ID, or just the phone number itself, so that you are not being a victim of that. So I hope this was helpful. I hope you learned something. If you did, give it a thumbs up. We will see you in the next video. We're going to be posting a lot more frequently. So thanks so much.